STORMYBMAN, and I am back. This is an early morning pop-up live. You know, I don't usually talk too much about Tank Davis on my channel unless it's a fight he's participated in or whatever, but with recent events and announcements and alluded to matters, we're seeing the fact that there's a lot of lying going on here. You know, can we at least get to a point where they could just come out and tell us what they're doing? I know for a fact that there was supposed to be a rematch between Davis and Roach. Whether Davis really wanted it or whether the PBC wanted it or whether the WBA wanted it, but we know that two people didn't want it: Jake Paul and Tank Davis. So we're in a world of crooks, caps, and cowards. Cowards, people. You know, because the one thing that a man has is his word. His word is supposed to be bond. You know what I'm saying? But we are so far away from that in this United States of America, where you can just say whatever you can to get out of a circumstance. You can say whatever you can to throw the heat off your trail. And ethics are not a part of a foundation anymore. Salute to Growing with Soul. I see you out there. Thank you for chiming in. There may be some people who are up and about. Me, I'm en route. Bars. Don't hate the player, hate the game. Yeah, I'm on my way en route to the grind. But I'm doing what I can to continue to provide content for the channel. I see more people are coming in. Jonathan Simon, what's good with you? Antoine Reed, good morning. If Gervonta just decided to go ahead with the Roach rematch, take care of matters there, because he would still be the favorite in a rematch and everything. I'm not saying he'd win. I'm not saying he'd lose. But to take care of business and then get back with Jake Paul, that would be respected. But the fact that you're choosing to do an exhibition that you all now behind the scenes is being said that you're trying to turn it into a legitimate match that will count against records. I don't understand what's going on here. Freedom's March, what's good with you, brother? Good morning to you. And at some point, whether you are those who are on the absurd line of support for this Baltimore native, listen, I'm not taking stabs at anyone or anything, but what I want to continue to stress is what I talk about on my platform all the time: integrity, ethics. When are you going to stop rolling over, showing your belly, and stand 10 toes down in truth, justice? And if you've messed up in life in any capacity, take accountability. Say, you know what, my bad, I messed up. Let me correct some things. And this is something that we're not seeing. And our young people absolutely do not know what humility is. They know what ego is. They know what pride is. They don't know what justice is. This is why so many are losing their lives so young, in their virtual youth, where you never allow the process to be sown that you grow and you develop. Just because you might have a little hair around your private and facial parts, that does not mean that you have grown to the full capacity. Because from the day of birth to the day of your eyes closing permanently, all that transpires in between is a maturation process which never ceases until the final breath happens. Huh? Yeah. So when are we going to get to that? Because we will make it as a civilization if we cannot uphold values. I was thinking, people, is the information that we had received about Davis, you know, the court situation and back in there with his child's mom and all of that, was that a show? Was it real? Because you see, if you've got important matters like that to sort out, right? Shouldn't it affect and impact what you're trying to do in your career as far as your fights as a fighter? Now remember, they were telling us, oh man, you know, we don't know if this is going to affect the rematch with Roach and everything. But what if all of that was done to give an excuse to sidestep the Roach circumstance? Because they haven't said anything about it impacting he and Jake Paul, have they? Bingo! You see what I'm saying? Ray Sun, what's good with you? He says, good question. And I'm like, if they used that to get out of the situation with Roach, there are no depths that these people will stoop to pull the wool over your eyes. And see, we're kind of getting into a territory. I really don't like to talk about that stuff too much, because the way I can articulate things, it's going to offend people. And I'm not here to do that. But man, you need to wake up, open your eyes, and look at what's really going on here. Just to make this Netflix, it's not that important. It's not even at this juncture a major, legitimate championship or championship caliber boxing match. It's supposed to be an exhibition. An exhibition. Can someone, I'm driving right now. Can someone look, who's in the chat right now, please look up the word exhibition and write the definition of exhibition in the chat for me, please. If I were at home, I would have already pulled that up for you guys and posted it. But I'm en route and I don't have time to do that while I'm driving. I got to focus on the road because it's early and these folks out here, you got to keep your eyes open, head on the swivel. But an exhibition, not a fight, not even an event. That's what it's being sold as. But how many of you are willing to just be accepting and not hold them accountable? Now, because it's going to be on Netflix, I'm sure everybody will watch it, because especially if you have Netflix already, that's okay. I'm not saying don't watch it, don't support it. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is, do understand what's important. If you love the sport of boxing, you should be questioning every damn thing. It says here, salute to Universal Truth. What's good with you? Good morning to you, brother. He says, a public display of works of art or items of interest held in an art gallery or a museum or at a trade fair. Now, we can apply that to what we're talking about and know that a public display of works, which is that definitely is, of interest, held in an arena, to modify that. And I thank you all for, because several of you have brought in the definition. But what I'm trying to get at here is this, you guys. Does that include, in this instance, fooling the masses and using the legal system as a way of advancing yourself or getting around circumstances? I don't like that. That's truly unethical, because all of the men and women out here who are going through legal circumstances over domestic and family issues, and court costs are high, people. They are high. This is really, there's something wrong here. Can you guys see that? So, and notice how quiet Tank has been, right? Isn't he typically a guy who has so much to say that he gets on your freaking nerves? Because he comes out and has something to say about everybody else, doesn't he? He does. He's always running his mouth with his Twitter fingers and everything. And it's like, would you please go talk about some fights or something, bro? Don't be sitting up, tweeting about other fighters and, talking about them and making disparaging remarks. Let's see you get your act together, brother. Stay out of the arms of the law, Stay your butt in the gym. You're the one that says they had you in the gym since you were so young, youthful, and everything. But now, you out here and you got something to say about everybody else. Let's hear you talk about your career and what is your aim? What are your objectives? What are your goals? Are you trying to follow the Mayweather blueprint of robbing the bank? Because if you are, not only are you doing a good job, but you're also losing respect. You're losing consideration. And by the time this era of which you've participated in, you're pretty much going to be in the tank. No pun intended. Nobody is going to care about you. Nobody's going to think about you. Oh yeah, you'll have your family and close immediate friends. But the sport will not be kind. And that'll be your own undoing of your career. Because the talent and ability is there to a far greater degree than a lot of fighters. Black Martial Arts Society, what's good with you, bro? I see you out there. Steph Brown, good morning. Kamara, the Stepping Razor, salute to you. I'm just trying to say that these people that are assisting in this situation, and let's not, my brothers, Drew Titan, 78 Sports TV, Town Biz, BFTB, Champside. Everyone has spoken on this one thing I'm about to mention in varying degrees. Jake Paul is not a professional fighter. Oh yes, he might have a pro record now. But Paul is here to smear the sport for those who can sell out the sport. He has found a couple of top names to bring it all into the trash. Names like Tyson, names like Davis. Whatever happened to Fury, huh? The Fury whom he couldn't beat. Why didn't he rematch that guy? I'm going to tell you why. Because he fought him who was a professional fighter and lost. But that's still a Caucasian man. But if he can come into the sport and lure some of the sport's top names out of their realm and into what he's doing, doesn't that mean that you are a sellout? That you are willing for a price to do something that at the end of the day, yeah, you got your bag, but where's your dignity? If you would have placed him in an era where there were the four kings, Leonard, Hagler, Duran, Hearns, the fifth king, Benitez, do you think any of those men would have subjugated themselves to any of this foolishness? At no price. Now let me flip it. You have the UFC out there. You have MMA now, right? Take the most prominent fighter of one of those fighting platforms and let him come to Canelo or someone like Crawford, who is going to be fighting Canelo next month, or Devin Haney, Teofimo Lopez. And I'm running off names of familiarity, but men who have established themselves in the sport. And there's so many others, okay? But I'm just using them as an example. And said, hey, I got this bag for you over here. Why don't you come on over here to the UFC or MMA and let's put on, a match. You between I, And to a lesser degree, that's been happening, like what Floyd did and everything. But I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about in the way and manner that Paul is doing this. Because once you get a guy to agree in principle and you get him to put name on a contract, now you're saying, oh, we're going to turn it into a real MMA match or UFC match, which means that the boxer from the other sport is now subject to arm bars, getting kicked in the face, pummeled with elbows and knees and everything. Stuff that he definitely didn't train for, right? But the bag, he's going for the bag. He's going to denigrate himself. He's going to embarrass the sport as a representation of the sport. And people don't see this. They don't look at it for what it really is. At some point, you have to say no. When I was a younger man, there was this wonderful film that came out with Robert Redford, Demi Moore, and Woody Harrelson called Indecent Proposal. The film Indecent Proposal was a film that told the story of a millionaire offering a man's wife to spend one night with him for the bag. Indecent Proposal. I remember when the film came out, you guys. If you've never seen it, you may have heard of it, and maybe you haven't, depending on your age demographic. But check it out. In fact, I'm going to suggest to Drew that we do a show on it on Nerds, because an indecent proposal is what you're seeing every time that Jake Paul comes out and propositions a professional fighter. You're actually asking the professional fighter to lower his standards of consideration with what he does professionally and cheapen himself out. Jonathan Simon says it's a great movie. Ray Son says the relationship never recovered. And Kamara says, I still can't watch that movie. Jonathan says, I was 23. Yeah, man. And I take it, Jonathan, you're in your 50s now, if you're close to your 50s or 60s or something, because, you know, the movie was made a long time ago, but it also shows you how our values in this nation have changed. Wouldn't you agree to that? Our values have changed so much, our ethics, that people will almost do anything for the dollar. You know, there was a time when a man would take a stance and say, you know, I'd rather starve than to turn over and put my rear end up in the air. Not anymore. And I'm going to tell you why. The absence of fathers, the absence of men. That's why women should not be put in a position to raise men alone. Dad needs to be present. Jonathan says, I'll be 55. Okay. Happy birthday early in advance to you, brother. Kamara says, I would beat Robert Redford or anyone asking me that. Well, the whole fact of the matter was the country was beginning a transition at that time that that film was made. Because understand Woody Harrelson's character in that film and how he went about things. And it's like what Kamara just said. The average man would have stood up and said, you know what? Blast this, bro. You know, we ain't going for that. Right? But see, I'm not getting off the subject of what I'm talking about Davis and Paul and what I've called crooks, caps, and cowards. Because this whole thing, you can see, requires some addressing. If a man can just come in and disrupt everything, then what are we doing? Why are we here? What is it? Jake Paul should not be able to come into the sport of boxing and tempt top elite fighters from the path that they should be on to come over there and do what he's doing. And let's not rule out the fact that a lot of what he's doing is scripted. I don't think the Fury outcome was scripted. That's why he didn't go back that direction. But I do believe that those who take that bag, hey, they are willing to go along with the script. I know that former NBA star Kendall Gill, who is a practicing martial artist and a competing fighter, he said that he would love to fight Jake Paul. And Jake Paul has heard none of that. He's totally ignored that situation. See, that's a guy from the NBA. Didn't he fight the little short brother from the NBA, Robinson? Huh? But he don't want to fight the 6'6" Kendall Gill, who is a practicing martial artist. Now, Nate Robinson, to my knowledge, wasn't a practicing martial artist. Huh? But you see what I'm saying here? Pull somebody up who can stand up, who can compete with you right on that level. Yeah, thank you, Kamara. He says, it all ties in. Excellent analogy. Yeah, man. And Ray Sun says he definitely changed his business model after the Tommy Fury fight. Yeah, it's like, you know, and again, if you're going to operate within that realm, and believe me, you guys, how many of you cared when he fought Tommy Fury? Nobody gave a damn, right? Because who the hell is Tommy Fury? The name, the family name is what it is, right? But nobody gave a darn, right? So here we are, and you're taking one of our top boxers who has yet to fulfill legacy by fighting his contemporaries, the men that people want to see him face, and you're pulling him away from that to give us some kind of show that's not going to benefit anyone but Jake Paul. Now, it says a lot about Davis that he's even willing to do this screw boxing, because in his mind, and he stated this earlier, remember, he tells you what he's thinking and what he's doing and everything in advance. But I still call him a liar because of what game has been played up to this point. He didn't never come out and say, I'm fighting Jake Paul and I'll get back to Lamont Roach. Huh? He never said that. There was deception. This whole thing, the court hearings and proceedings, the domestic situation. Is that real or not? Because if it's real, it should impact him facing anybody, not just Lamont Roach, but Paul too. Ray Sun says, I was interested because I wanted to see what he would look like against a real boxer. And I saw what I thought I would see. Well, yeah, you know, and I'm not condemning for who was in it, but what I was just trying to say was, at that time, of course, the Fury name, but we knew Fury was a real fighter, boxer, professional. And so he put Paul in his place, which means that's supposed to be, that's it. Okay, you're done. Gone back, fight guys who never were and was never going to be. Fight those dudes. But you keep coming back, even trying to call out Anthony Joshua, whom, regardless of what Joshua's circumstances are presently with his career and everything, where is the respect for Joshua being a former title holder 2 times over in the heavyweight division in this present era? I mean, do you see the disrespect to the sport, people? That's what this is all about. The disrespect of the sport. And those who are willing to kowtow, bend over, and roll over and show their belly for people like that, to exploit our sport like that. People are angry because Turki Al-Sheikh has come into the sport and has thrown money around and has secured fights and everything that we ordinarily may not have received. But even maybe overpaying some individuals. But at least we were getting the fights. But here is where I have a problem. That's still exploiting, because you're exploiting someone's desire for the bag. So if a guy, if he knows he's getting a guaranteed amount, is he going to give us the effort that we would like to see out of him in his performance? Well, I'm getting paid X amount of money anyway, so if I lose or whatever, ain't no thing. We don't want it to turn into that either. Crooks, caps, and cowards. You see? Bringing it all the way back to my title. Yeah. Let me see here. Dritch Richardson in the building. What's happening? He says, salute, Stormy. Good morning to you, brother. Ray Sun says, hold on. I'm trying to. Told you I'm driving. I have to watch this traffic ahead of me, man. There's some funny shenanigans going on here. He says he allegedly used domestic violence case, like Tia Lopez said, going crazy. Yeah, man. To stop his fight. Yeah, man. You know, that's unacceptable, man. And think about it like this, you guys. See, like the brother, who was that? Jonathan Simon. He said he's in his 50s now. You know, there was a time when this era of my age and my demographic, we wouldn't do anything like that, man. We wouldn't do that. And so now you got people who are willing to do that. There's no bottom that they would, stoop to. No level. They will just get down in the dungeons. And that's dangerous, man. That's extremely dangerous. You know? Johnson says, Stormy, he is ranked cruiserweight. Fight one of those guys, not this. You know, listen. He can string a few fights together, and that could mean something for his career. But the way he's operating is definitely not what we want to see in our sport of boxing. And then you have the likes of Dana White, who is looking to come in and interfere with his foolishness. Yeah. Anyway, so how are we to have respect for Tank and any other professional fighter that is accepting Jake Paul's challenges? Because understand, he is selecting, cherry picking, so to speak, from his angle. Now, what he's doing with the promotion of boxing, when he put on his fight cards and everything, he's making quality matches. And what he's accrued with the women in the sport of boxing, all of those women that he's seemingly signed up, he's got a number of popular names, and I think two of the most popular that he doesn't have right now might be Michaela Mayer and Clarissa Shields. And if he can get all the women, under one banner, that would be very interesting, but I wouldn't like to see that either. That's a monopoly that, if you want to say, hey, I'm branching off and I'm promoting women's boxing, okay, cool. But even signing and aligning all of these women up, and then because the ones who are with different promoters, they won't get a chance unless they come to a split type agreement. There's a lot wrong with that. You know, I don't know, guys. But this whole thing with Tank and Jake Paul is really shitty, man. It is. Ray Sun says Joshua would have killed him. He would have definitely had to take the dive. Anderson Silva should have KO'd him. Yeah. Black Martial Arts Society says, wonderful build, Sensei. Love the analogies. Hey, thank you there, Black Martial Arts Society. Salute to you, bro. Freedom's March says, real spill, Stormy. Yeah, man. And Quan Big Guns is in the building saying, salute, Storm. Just waking up. Yeah, man. I'm already at the grind. I'm in them fields and they ready for me. So I'm going to be getting off of here in just a moment. But yeah, you guys, I wanted to just come out and have a conversation about that. You know what I'm saying? Kamara says, back then, our community had enough social pressure to deter us from doing that. These days, get the bag. Yeah, man. Isn't that disgraceful, man? Disgraceful. Jamil 1000 says, he burned the bridge with Clarissa. Yeah, and I'm going to tell you something. Having Alicia Baumgartner come out and say these things, and also getting Amanda Serrano to say these negative things about Clarissa and everything while they were trying to build up their card a few months back and everything. So disrespectful, man. You don't have to like Clarissa Shields, the person, but you have to respect Clarissa Shields, the professional fighter. She has accomplished more in the sport of boxing than any other woman to this day. Yeah. And she will go down in history as the most decorated female boxer in history. And she can align those accomplishments that she's achieved with any man that's in professional boxing. That is to be respected. And I don't like what they're doing, because if Clarissa Shields was real light complexion, I'm talking about lighter than Alicia Baumgartner, you understand? With wavy hair, and hazel eyes, you wouldn't stop seeing her every damn where. But that's all right, because we embrace our chocolate sister, And everybody loves chocolate, don't they? Don't let them fool you, man. They on some BS. Quan Big Gun says Tank has decided to gain fake fangirls by experiencing with feminine looks and being friends with racists. He turned his back on his original supporters like us fans for fangirls. Tank is not a real one. You can say that again. Brent Fox in the building saying, good morning, Sensei. Good morning to you, brother. Shade Girl 85. What's going on with you, Shade Girl? She says, good morning, working and listening. Yeah, and I'm just arriving, so I got to get in there myself. Quan says, I would like to know the reason why Tank turned on black people as a whole to prefer races. Well, when you have grown up under ignorance, Quan Big Guns, it speaks volumes. Ignorance. Even the men who were around him as so-called teachers, trainers, and mentors, Yeah, think about that. I wouldn't hire them to teach me how to tie my shoes, Yeah. Quan says, I would like to know, I read that one. Ray Sun says, straight up. Kamara says, hell yeah. Trill Will, what's good with you, brother? Good morning to you, man. Salute. Yeah, just, some of you guys that's just coming into the building, please, run this back, because I'm about to wrap it up. But I just thought en route, on my way to work, and I said, you know what? All of this is inspired by my my opportunity to go to the LDBC meet and greet because I was doing broadcasts from my phone at that time, and I hadn't done that before. So now I'm kind of mixing in this, and Will, like you told me when our personal conversation that we had recently, I'm trying to branch out and do some things a little bit different, which will give greater opportunities and more access. So yeah, thank you so much for that, Will. I appreciate you, brother, for saying that, to me. Jonathan Simon is asking, you going live tonight? Yeah, I'm going to do the Friday night chop session, bro. I'm doing the Friday night chop session tonight. Yeah, this was just an opportunity for me to put some more content out there. I didn't do anything yesterday evening because I was kind of trying to relax myself. Yeah. Trish Richardson says, you should do more of these early morning chats, Stormy. Love getting my boxing news early. Yeah, okay. So yeah, I will be there. Okay. But yeah, man. But listen, you guys, I hope that you all will have Junior the Truth. What's good with you, Junior? On the move again, Junior. But yeah, getting ready. Listen, thank you so much, you guys, for tuning in. For those that just coming in or didn't catch the whole thing, please run it back. I put some food for thought out there for you guys. You know what I'm saying? And that's what, because I'm always trying to be on the level about this. You know what I mean? So Julie says, I love this, bro. Hey, man, I'm just trying to be like you guys, man, and keep everything going. Do my part, man. The baton be passed to me, and I'm running my little sprint, and I'm getting ready to pass it off to somebody else. We got somebody coming in this morning, hopefully. I know Freedom's March usually do something early in the morning. So if you're going to do it, Freedoms, I want to see it. I'm be out there listening. So yeah, and Junior, you as well, because I know you get that coffee club on early and everything, and I got my Java right here with me. Yeah. So thank you guys, man. Appreciate you all. I want to say once again, and have a great, blessed day, and look forward to having a great weekend. Shout out to the mighty LDBC, and I'll catch you guys later today with the Friday night chop session. Peace to you guys.